Hi, in this video I'm looking at solving this equation here for z. So I've got z to the power of 4 plus z squared minus 90 equals 0. Now this is a polynomial of order 4, though if we look at it, it's missing the z cubed and the z to the power of 1 term, which means that this is actually a quadratic in z squared. So what I can do is I can let some other number or letter be z squared. So I'm just going to replace it with a because it's the first letter in the alphabet. So if I replace all the z squareds with a, I will get, well, z to the 4th is z squared squared. So my first term becomes a squared because my z squared becomes a, and then it's still squared, plus my second term, z squared, is just a, and then I've got minus 90 equals 0. So now all I need to do is solve this quadratic here. Now we could either use our quadratic equation, because it's now a quadratic, or I could use a bit of factorization. And this one does factorize, so let's go ahead and factorize it. I need a number that adds to 1 and multiplies to negative 90. And if we play around and think about that, we have 10 and negative 9. Because 10 plus negative 9 is 1. 10 times negative 9 is negative 90. So that means that this factorizes to a plus 10 times a minus 9 equals 0. And so now I can sub back in my a equals z squared. So I get that I have z squared plus 10 times z squared minus 9 equals 0. So now all I need to do is just solve these two equations. Now if I look at this, z squared minus 9 is nice and easy to solve. So if I bring it out, z squared minus 9 equals 0, means that z squared equals 9, which means that z is plus or minus the square root of 9. So one of my roots, well, two of my roots, is plus or minus 3. If I have a look at the second part, well, the first part really, z squared plus 10 equals 0, well, that means that z squared equals negative 10, and now I need to take plus or minus the square root of negative 10. But thankfully, we're in the world of complex numbers, so that means that we can turn this into plus or minus I root 10. So that gives me my other two roots. So I've got z is plus or minus I root 10, and z is plus or minus 3.